Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please hit the subscribe. Now this start video. Over the years, Chicago Fire has introduced and lost many characters, with some exits being more devastating than others. The show isn't afraid to kill off key characters early on, and that was clear from the very first episode. One of the most impactful deaths in the series was that of Andy Darden, a firefighter whose death shaped the lives of multiple characters, including Matthew Casey and Kelly Severide. He made a split-second decision to enter a burning building, and moments later, an explosion took his life. Andy Darden was a firefighter at Firehouse 51. He played a major role in Chicago Fire's early storylines, despite only appearing in the pilot episode. His death marked the first big tragedy in the series. It had lasting effects on his family, his friends, and the entire firehouse. He was an experienced firefighter who had the respect of his team. He took risks on the job and was known for his fearless approach. He shared a close bond with Matthew Casey and Kelly Severide. They trained together and built a friendship that felt like family. They always had each other's backs, both at work and in their personal lives. But despite his commitment to firefighting, Darden's true priority was his family. He was married to Heather Darden and had two young sons, Griffin and Ben. His role as a husband and father was something he took seriously, and his decision-making was often influenced by his responsibility to them. In the Chicago Fire pilot, Darden's final call was responding to a burning building alongside Firehouse 51. When they arrived, the situation quickly escalated. There was a debate over whether it was safe to enter, but Darden made the call to go in. Casey hesitated, trying to keep him back, while Severide encouraged him to trust his instincts. Darden ultimately went in, and moments later, the building exploded. He was killed instantly. His death wasn't just a tragic moment. It was the catalyst for major conflicts in the firehouse. Severide blamed Casey, arguing that he should have done more to stop Darden from entering the building. Casey, on the other hand, felt that Darden made his own choice. This disagreement caused a deep divide between them, creating one of the show's earliest rivalries. Over time, they worked through their anger and grief, but Darden's absence was always felt. Outside of the firehouse, his death left his wife, Heather, struggling to raise their children alone. In Season 2, Heather was arrested for a DUI, leading to Casey temporarily becoming the guardian of Griffin and Ben. He took care of them while Heather served her sentence, stepping into a role he never expected. This bond with the Darden boys continued even after they moved away, ultimately influencing Casey's decision to leave Firehouse 51 in Season 10 to take care of them in Oregon. Even years later, Andy Darden's death remains one of Chicago Fire's most significant turning points. His loss shaped the careers and personal lives of several key characters, proving that his impact didn't end with his final scene. Chicago Fire Season 13 Episode 13 is called Born of Fire. It will air on Wednesday, February 19, 2025 at 9/8 on NBC. The episode will focus on both high-risk rescues and personal challenges at Firehouse 51. One of the main storylines will follow Stella Kidd and her Girls on Fire program. Firehouse 51 will respond to a dangerous rescue at an adventure park. After that call, Kidd will come up with an idea to create a ropes course for her mentorship program. She will ask Kelly Severide to help her. This could turn into a major new project for the team. Meanwhile, Violet Mikami faces an unexpected challenge when an old rival returns, asking for her help. Chicago Fire is a television series renowned for its gripping storytelling, emotional depth, and high-stakes action. Over the years, the show has introduced many characters, some of whom have left lasting legacies. While the series has seen multiple exits of beloved characters, none were as impactful in its early days as that of Andy Darden. Darden's tragic death in the pilot episode of Chicago Fire set the stage for a series of developments that would shape the fates of several characters and the future of the show. Andy Darden was a dedicated firefighter at Firehouse 51. the central location where the show's main characters work. Although he only appeared in the pilot episode, his presence loomed large over the early seasons, especially in terms of his relationships with the other characters. Andy was well respected among his peers, an experienced firefighter known for his courage, risk-taking, and deep commitment to his work. He was the type of firefighter who didn't hesitate to put himself in harm's way if it meant saving lives, earning the admiration of his team. The death of Andy Darden is one of the pivotal moments in Chicago Fire. In the show's very first episode, Darden and his fellow firefighters respond to a call at a burning building. As the team arrives, the situation quickly escalates. There's uncertainty over whether it's safe to enter the building, but Darden, driven by his instincts and his dedication to the job, makes the split-second decision to go in. His fellow firefighter, Matthew Casey, hesitates, trying to convince Darden to wait, while Kelly Severide, another key character, encourages Darden to follow his instincts. Ultimately, Darden's decision to enter the burning building leads to catastrophic consequences. Just moments later, the building explodes and Darden is killed instantly. This shocking death not only serves as a devastating blow to Firehouse 51, but also marks the beginning of a series of personal and professional challenges for the characters who were closest to him. Although Andy Darden's screen time was brief, his death had a profound and lasting impact on many of the main characters. It set the stage for ongoing storylines, deep emotional conflicts, and a lasting bond among his colleagues. Two of the characters most affected by Darden's death were Matthew Casey and Kelly Severide, both of whom were incredibly close to him. The three firefighters had trained together, built friendships, and formed a bond that felt like family. Their close relationship meant that Darden's sudden death left both Casey and Severide grappling with grief, guilt, and unanswered questions. In particular, Casey struggled with the idea that he hadn't been able to stop Darden from entering the building. He felt responsible for not doing more to prevent the tragedy. Severide, on the other hand, blamed Casey for not stepping in and stopping Darden, creating one of the show's earliest and most significant conflicts between the two characters. This rivalry and tension lasted for some time, but over the course of the series, Casey and Severide worked through their anger, ultimately rediscovering the deep friendship that had existed before Darden's death. Outside of Firehouse 51, Darden's death also left a lasting impact on his wife, Heather, and their two young sons, Griffin and Ben. As a loving husband and father, Darden had always prioritized his family, and his death forced them to navigate a new reality without his support. In Season 2, Heather Darden faces her own struggles in the aftermath of her husband's death. She is arrested for a DUI and sentenced to serve time, which temporarily leads to Casey stepping in as the guardian for Griffin and Ben. This unexpected responsibility forces Casey to take on a role he never imagined. It also deepens his connection with the Darden children, creating an emotional bond that would continue even after they moved away. This bond would ultimately influence Casey's decision in Season 10 to leave Firehouse 51 and relocate to Oregon to care for Griffin and Ben, a testament to the lasting impact of Andy Darden's death on Casey's life. Though Andy Darden's role was brief, his death was the catalyst for many of the key storylines and conflicts that followed in Chicago Fire. It introduced themes of grief, responsibility, and the complex dynamics of working in high-risk, life-threatening professions. The tragedy of his death underscored the ever-present danger that firefighters face and the emotional toll it takes on those who risk their lives every day. Darden's death also set the stage for the development of Matthew Casey and Kelly Severide's characters. Casey's eventual transition from firefighter to guardian, as well as Severide's journey of self-discovery and emotional healing, can be traced back to the loss of their friend and colleague. Their growth as individuals and as partners was deeply shaped by the pain and the lessons they learned from Andy Darden's death. Andy Darden's death in Chicago Fire's pilot episode remains one of the most significant and heartbreaking moments in the series. Though his time on the show was brief, The impact of his death rippled through the lives of his colleagues and shaped the trajectory of the show. His loss was not just a plot device, but a catalyst for deep emotional growth for characters like Matthew Casey, Kelly Severide, and the Darden family. As Chicago Fire continues to evolve, the legacy of Andy Darden serves as a constant reminder of the sacrifices made by first responders and the bonds they share as they navigate the dangers of their profession.